The year was 1783. America had won its independence from Great Britain. Cannons had fallen silent. Flags of a new nation fluttered in the breeze. 13 colonies, now states, looked towards a future they would shape themselves. Yet, beneath the celebrations, uncertainty simmered. The fight for freedom was over. The challenge of building a lasting nation had just begun. How would these diverse states come together as one? The spirit of revolution was still strong. They cherished their local controls and individual liberties. They needed unity, but they also craved autonomy for each state. To address the need for a unified government, the states adopted the Articles of Confederation in 1781. This was America's first constitution, born from the fear of a strong central government. The states retained most of the power, creating a deliberately weak central government. It had a Congress but no president to enforce laws, and no national judiciary to interpret them. The central government lacked true authority, unable to directly tax the people. Often states paid little or nothing, leaving the national government chronically underfunded. It struggled to pay its debts and regulate interstate commerce, leading to economic instability. Its powerlessness became increasingly apparent to both Americans and foreign powers. Events soon highlighted the dangerous weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation. One such event was Shays' Rebellion in Massachusetts in 1786 and 1787. Farmers, many of them Revolutionary War veterans, faced crushing debt and high taxes. Led by Daniel Shays, they protested and shut down courts. The national government was powerless to intervene effectively. Massachusetts had to raise its own militia to quell the uprising. This rebellion sent a shockwave across the states, showing how fragile social order was. Influential figures began to speak out more forcefully for a stronger national government. The Articles of Confederation represented America's first national government, adopted in 1781. Many Americans deeply feared strong centralized power, vividly remembering British control. The Articles created a weak central government acting more like a loose confederation of independent states. Each state kept most of its sovereignty and autonomy, forming a firm league of friendship. However, mere friendship proved insufficient to govern a new nation effectively. The government consisted of only one branch, a Congress with a single legislative chamber. There was no national president to enforce laws, and no national judiciary to interpret them. This framework, designed to prevent tyranny, ultimately paralyzed the government. The economic landscape of the United States in the 1780s was extremely troubled. The long and costly Revolutionary War had burdened the new nation with enormous debts. The central government owed significant sums to foreign allies and its own citizens. Many soldiers remained unpaid or were paid with depreciating currency. Under the Articles of Confederation, Congress had no independent power to levy taxes. States often failed to provide their allocated share, leaving the national treasury virtually empty. Adding to the debt crisis was the absence of a unified economic system, with individual states printing their own paper money. This chaotic financial environment stifled economic activity and discouraged much-needed investment. The shortcomings of the Articles of Confederation were not confined to economic matters. They also severely undermined the nation's capacity to conduct foreign policy effectively. The central government lacked the authority to speak with a single decisive voice for all 13 states. Foreign governments were often uncertain whether agreements reached with Congress would be respected by individual states. European powers exploited America's weaknesses, with Britain occupying forts and Spain closing the Mississippi River. The national government was too weak to challenge these provocations, lacking a standing army and strong navy. Internally, states engaged in disputes over boundaries and economic skirmishes, imposing tariffs on each other. This constant bickering and lack of cohesion threatened to unravel the fragile union of states. The culmination of these mounting frustrations was starkly illustrated by Shays' Rebellion. Debt-ridden farmers, many of them Revolutionary War veterans, protested high taxes and foreclosures. This rebellion sent a shockwave through the states, deeply alarming political and economic leaders. The national government under the Articles was powerless to intervene. In the wake of Shays' rebellion, calls for a stronger national government grew louder. Prominent figures like George Washington, James Madison, and Alexander Hamilton intensified their efforts for change. The Annapolis Convention in 1786 led to the call for the Philadelphia Convention in 1787. The sense of crisis was palpable, and the young American Republic stood at a critical crossroads. The spring of 1787 brought a sense of cautious anticipation. Delegates from 12 of the 13 states made their way to Philadelphia. Rhode Island, wary of centralized power, chose not to attend. The official purpose of the Federal Convention was to revise the Articles of Confederation. Many influential figures, however, arrived with a far more ambitious plan. They believed the Articles were fundamentally broken and envisioned a completely new framework. 55 delegates participated, including lawyers, planters, and merchants with extensive experience. George Washington's presence lent immense legitimacy to the proceedings, steadying the often contentious debates. James Madison of Virginia had arrived in Philadelphia well prepared. He had spent months studying various forms of government, both ancient and modern. His ideas heavily influenced the Virginia Plan, which was formally presented by Governor Edmund Randolph. This plan proposed a radical departure from the Articles of Confederation. It called for a strong national government with 3 distinct branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. Crucially, the Virginia Plan proposed a bicameral or 2-house legislature. Representation in both houses would be based on each state's population or its financial contributions to the national government. This was a bold stroke for a powerful central authority. The Virginia Plan immediately sparked intense debate. Delegates from the larger, more populous states, such as Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Massachusetts, generally supported it. They believed that representation based on population was fair and logical. A state with more people, they argued, should have a greater voice in the national government. However, delegates from the smaller states like Delaware, New Jersey, and Connecticut reacted with alarm. They feared that such a system would lead to their domination by the larger states. Their interests, they worried, would be consistently outvoted and ignored in a government where power was allocated by numbers alone. As June turned into July, the Philadelphia summer grew hotter, and so did the tempers inside Independence Hall. The deadlock over representation threatened to dissolve the convention. Delegates from large states insisted on proportional representation. Those from small states were equally adamant about equal representation. Neither side seemed willing to yield on this fundamental point. The future of the United States looked bleak. If these leaders, assembled for the express purpose of strengthening the Union, could not agree, then what hope was there for the nation itself? A solution had to be found, or the American experiment might end before it truly began. Recognizing the grave danger, the convention appointed a special committee. This committee was tasked with finding a way out of the impasse. It included 1 delegate from each state present. The committee worked diligently, searching for common ground. The debates were intense, but the shared desire to create a viable nation pushed them forward. Roger Sherman of Connecticut, along with Oliver Ellsworth, also from Connecticut, played a pivotal role in crafting a workable solution. Their proposal drew upon elements from both the Virginia and New Jersey plans. It aimed to satisfy the core demands of both large and small states, navigating thorny paths, slavery, commerce, and the presidency. The convention turned to deeply divisive matters. Among the most contentious was slavery. Southern states' economies relied on enslaved labor. Northern states were moving towards abolition. The debate was economic and moral. Delegates held strong, conflicting views. Several compromises regarding slavery were made. The most infamous was the 3/5 Compromise. The architect, James Madison. James Madison of Virginia arrived in Philadelphia exceptionally well prepared. He was only 36 years old, but he possessed a keen intellect. Madison immersed himself in the study of governments. He came to Philadelphia as a political theorist with a clear vision. Madison is often called the father of the Constitution. He was the principal author of the Virginia Plan. The guiding hands, George Washington and Benjamin Franklin. The presence of George Washington at the Constitutional Convention was absolutely indispensable. As the revered hero of the Revolutionary War, his participation lent unparalleled legitimacy and gravitas to the proceedings. Many Americans were wary of any effort to create a stronger central government, fearing it might become tyrannical. Washington's involvement helped to reassure the public that the convention's intentions were honorable. He was unanimously elected as its president. His dignified presence and quiet authority set a serious tone for the important work that lay ahead. His commitment to a more effective union was unwavering. As president of the convention, Washington largely maintained an impartial stance. He seldom participated directly in the debates themselves. His primary role was to preside over the sessions, ensuring that discussions remained orderly and focused. He guided the delegates through complex and often contentious arguments with a steady hand. Though he spoke infrequently, his opinions carried immense weight. A subtle nod or a concerned frown from Washington could subtly influence the course of debate. His quiet leadership by example encouraged delegates to persist through difficult moments and strive for consensus. The forceful advocate, Alexander Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton of New York was a brilliant and energetic young statesman. He possessed a powerful vision for the future of the United States. His experiences during the Revolution convinced him of the need for a strong, centralized national authority. Hamilton arrived at the convention eager to create a government capable of ensuring domestic stability and economic prosperity. He believed states retaining too much power would perpetuate divisions. On June 18, 1787, Hamilton delivered a powerful speech. He outlined his own plan for government. His proposal was far more centralized than the Virginia Plan. He advocated for a president and senators serving for life, similar to the British system. While considered too radical, it highlighted his commitment to national supremacy. His bold ideas stimulated discussion and pushed boundaries. The craftsmen of compromise and clarity, Sherman, Morris, and Wilson. Roger Sherman of Connecticut was a seasoned politician known for his pragmatism and common sense. He was a key architect of the Connecticut Compromise. Gouverneur Morris of Pennsylvania was renowned for his sharp intellect and eloquent speech. Morris was the principal wordsmith of the Constitution. The imperative for order and effective governance. The United States Constitution was created to establish order and effective governance. Events like Shays' Rebellion showed the central government's weakness. A stronger national government was essential to maintain peace and ensure the rule of law. Forging economic unity and national prosperity. Economic distress was another major catalyst for drafting the Constitution. Under the Articles of Confederation, the national economy was in a precarious state. The central government lacked the power to regulate interstate commerce. This resulted in states imposing tariffs and taxes on goods from other states, stifling trade and creating economic rivalries. There was no uniform national currency, making transactions complex and unpredictable. Furthermore, the national government was unable to effectively pay its war debts. This damaged its credibility both at home and abroad. The founders knew a new approach was vital for economic survival and growth. A key reason for the Constitution was to create a unified economic zone. By granting Congress the power to regulate commerce among the states and with foreign nations, the founders aimed to eliminate internal trade barriers. This would foster a national market, encouraging economic development and efficiency. The Constitution also gave Congress the power to coin money and regulate its value. This would provide a stable and uniform currency, facilitating business transactions and economic planning. These powers were seen as essential tools for building a prosperous nation and ensuring its financial stability for the future. Ensuring national security and diplomatic strength. The Articles of Confederation failed to ensure national security. The central government lacked authority to maintain an army or navy. This left the nation vulnerable to foreign threats. Britain occupied forts in the Northwest Territory. Spain restricted access to the Mississippi River. The U.S. couldn't protect its borders or citizens. The Constitution aimed to provide for the common defense. It granted powers to raise armies, maintain a navy, and call forth the militia. Centralized military authority was essential for survival. Designing a bulwark against tyranny, checks and balances. Perhaps the most ingenious and enduring reason for the Constitution's specific design was the profound desire to prevent tyranny. Having just fought a revolution to escape the perceived tyranny of the British monarchy and Parliament, the American people were deeply suspicious of concentrated governmental power. They feared replacing one form of oppression with another. Therefore, a central challenge for the framers was to create a government that was strong enough to be effective, yet not so powerful that it could trample on the liberties of its citizens. This fear of unchecked authority was a guiding principle throughout the convention. To address this fundamental concern, the framers embedded the principle of separation of powers into the very structure of the Constitution. They divided the federal government into three distinct branches: the legislative branch, responsible for making laws; the executive branch, responsible for enforcing laws; and the judicial branch, responsible for interpreting laws. Each branch was given its own specific powers and responsibilities. This division was intended to ensure that no single person or group could gain complete control over the government, thereby safeguarding against potential abuse of power. A solemn pledge, the oath to uphold. Across the United States, a profound ritual regularly takes place. Men and women entering public service raise their right hands. They solemnly swear or affirm an oath. They all pledge to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. It is a deeply serious commitment. This oath is a public declaration of their ultimate allegiance. Officials and military members swear loyalty to the U.S. Constitution. They do not pledge fealty to a political party or a specific branch of government. It signifies that the principles and framework of the Constitution stand above any individual leader or political faction. This practice of swearing an oath to a governing document has deep roots. The oath to the Constitution reinforces this vision. Officials are not masters but servants of the people. This vow represents a profound and weighty responsibility. The oath serves as a constant guiding reminder of their primary duty. The Constitution, keystone of American democracy. The Constitution is the bedrock of American democracy. It lays out the blueprint for self-governance. It defines how leaders are chosen through fair elections. It establishes the branches of government and their powers. Officials swear to protect the democratic process. Political power resides with the people. The rule of law ensures accountability. It safeguards peaceful transitions of power. The Constitution protects citizens' rights to vote and assemble. We the people signifies that sovereignty rests with the citizens. Officials promise to serve the people's interests. Shielding freedoms, the guardian of civil liberties. Military and elected officials swear to protect the Constitution, a guardian of civil liberties. These freedoms are articulated in the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments. They include freedom of speech, religion, press, assembly, and petition. They guarantee due process and a fair trial. The Constitution serves as a robust shield, protecting individual autonomy. It includes the liberty to hold and express dissenting opinions. Officials commit to respecting these boundaries, ensuring government does not interfere in private lives. Protecting rights for all, even those with unpopular views, is vital for democracy. Officials must uphold these rights impartially, ensuring liberty for every person. Civil liberties are living principles requiring constant vigilance and active defense. This commitment ensures the promise of freedom remains a reality for future generations. A living legacy, the enduring promise of protection. The United States Constitution has endured for over 2 centuries. This longevity is a testament to its brilliant design. It combines firm principles with a capacity for adaptation. The framers included an amendment process. This allows the Constitution to evolve with the nation. Yet, its core tenets of liberty, justice, and the rule of law remain constant. Officials pledge to protect this entire framework. This includes its values and ability to change. This dual nature ensures its continued relevance. The oath signifies a commitment to a dynamic system of governance. It represents a dedication to the American experiment itself. This experiment involves striving towards a more perfect union. Public officials play a crucial role in this process. They ensure the government operates within constitutional boundaries. Their work keeps the Constitution a living document. By taking the oath, officials connect to the aspirations of the founding generation. They become part of a long line of public servants. These servants have dedicated their careers to the nation's highest ideals. This tradition creates a powerful sense of continuity and shared national purpose. It reinforces the idea that the Constitution is a precious legacy. It is a treasure entrusted to the care of each generation. The duty of current officials is to preserve this invaluable inheritance for future Americans. This is a solemn responsibility they willingly accept. Ultimately, the oath serves as a critical safeguard for the nation. It places the Constitution above any individual's ambition. It underscores that the system of government is paramount. This collective commitment ensures the survival of American democracy. It is a profound and binding promise. A promise to uphold the core values of freedom, equality, and justice. This vow helps secure liberty for all citizens. An enduring legacy, the Constitution's steadfast framework. The U.S. Constitution stands as a remarkable testament to the foresight of its creators. For over 230 years, it has served as the fundamental law of the land. It has skillfully guided the nation through periods of profound societal change and immense, often unforeseen challenges. This intricate design purposefully sought to create a delicate balance, achieving stability while also preserving the crucial capacity for national growth and adaptation. The document remains a central cornerstone of American identity and its system of governance. It continues to profoundly shape the nation's path forward in the complex landscape of the 21st century. A living document, adapting to a changing nation and world. The Constitution's genius lies in its capacity to adapt to new circumstances. The framers recognized they couldn't foresee all future challenges. They created a living document designed to evolve with the nation. This adaptability is achieved through the formal amendment process. To date, 27 amendments have been added. These changes have expanded rights and refined government structure. The Constitution remains relevant across different historical eras. The Unfolding Promise, America's continuing constitutional journey. The journey to fully realize the noble ideals enshrined within the U.S. Constitution is ongoing and often arduous. The framers aspired to form a more perfect union. This implies a continuous process of striving and improvement. The Constitution, visionary yet a product of its era, reflected difficult compromises. It left deep societal issues unresolved, notably slavery. American history is the story of striving to close the gap between the Constitution's promises and reality. This effort requires constant vigilance and commitment from every generation. The Constitution provides tools for national refinement and progress. The amendment process allows for changes to correct past flaws and reflect evolving values. The Civil War amendments reshaped the nation by abolishing slavery and establishing equal protection. They extended voting rights and due process under the law for all. Democratic processes empower citizens to advocate for change. They allow for the pursuit of greater justice and equality under the law.
Thank you for watching a WiseHooterLearning video. If you would like a shout out at the end of a future video, please have your first name emailed to WiseHooterLearning@yahoo.com.